Hi, everyone. I'm Barry Stagner, and this is his channel Newsbreak. Thousands of acres of corn and soybeans have been destroyed by a hailstorm that moved through southwest Minnesota. And in some cases, it's too late in the season for farmers to replant. Agronomist Steve Michaels at Crystal Valley Co-op in LaSalle says dozens of farmers he works with sustained losses. Golf ball-sized hail fell during the storm that also generated 3 tornadoes on June 20th. George Sill, who farms near Madelia, says he lost 150 acres of soybeans and 90 acres of corn, with another 200 acres damaged to varying degrees. Sill says that for the crops that were destroyed, you couldn't even tell he had planted. Michaels tells the Star Tribune it's too late for corn to be replanted, but soybeans can be replanted until about the first week of July. President Donald Trump is fixing a problematic transgender rule devised and implemented under former President Barack Obama that forwarded the LGBT agenda while putting battered women and girls in shelters at risk of being sexually assaulted by male predators claiming to be female. It would eliminate an Obama administration rule in 2016 requiring that shelters allow people to enter based on their gender identity. The Obama rule turned shelters for the homeless and for abused women into a battleground for the transgender rights agenda. Putting women and kids' safety above an agenda under the Trump administration's Department of Housing and Urban Development, led by Secretary Ben Carson, a proposed rule is now under consideration to fix the problem left by the Obama administration that continues to leave vulnerable homeless women and children in shelters endangered by male sexual predators masquerading as women. It would protect vulnerable women and children by letting federally funded shelters consider a range of factors such as biological sex in deciding whether to provide lodging to certain people. The rule is set to take effect next month. HUD's proposal restores the right of shelter operators to be able to determine and allow their facilities entrance to certain individuals once they ascertain that they are according to who they have stated, that being male or female. This proposed rule provides shelter for operators under HUD programs which permit single-sex or sex-segregated facilities such as bathrooms or temporary emergency shelters and other buildings and facilities with physical limitations or configurations that require and are permitted to have shared sleeping quarters or bathing facilities. And it may establish a policy consistent with state and local law by which such shelter providers consider an individual's sex for the purposes of determining accommodation within the shelters and for the purposes of determining sex for admission to any facility or portion thereof. The abstract of HUD's proposal declares the proposed rule permits shelter providers to consider a range of factors in making these determinations, including privacy, safety, practical concerns, religious beliefs, any relevant considerations under civil rights and non-discrimination authorities. The individual's sex is reflected in official government documents, as well as the gender which a person identifies with. Finally, shelters can be shelters. Once again, Liberty Counsel, a nonprofit Christian organization, has declared they are devoted to fighting for Americans' constitutional rights and explained why the rule Obama managed to sneak in the year before he left office turned shelters from bastions for the homeless into sexual predator breeding grounds. The change was needed because the 2016 Equal Access Rule under the Obama administration mandated that federally funded single-sex homeless shelters admit residents based on their stated gender identity instead of their biological sex. Well, we know in the last days there is going to be a strong delusion, and that would include the gender dysphoria and transsexualism we see in our world today, giving us today's reminder to keep looking up.